right, so I guess let's get to it. Let's get to the overall thoughts of the film. We'll go around. Jason started off. What did you think of Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania? Because we got a divisive MCU film on our hands. So,
man, and I'm surprised it's so divisive. What with the no homosexuals kissing or no people of color getting prominence. I mean, usually that's what makes these things divisive, right? But I like this. I like this a lot. Come on, guys. Kang. What do I have to say more than Kang? He was awesome. I've actually been dipping into Lovecraft country because of the actor, which is not great. I wish it was better, but there's some really good stuff going on. That actor is fantastic. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I really enjoyed this. It was not like your other Ant-Man movies. It feels more like a prestige Marvel movie where where we're going to the quantum realm, we're kicking new things
Rick's
off.
going into the quantum realm right now.
Rick is in the quantum realm. Jesus Christ. But I really enjoyed this. Like overall, I have some gripes that we'll get into later. But if I'm talking overall, I think this was a really fun movie. I don't get why people are trashing it. If they expected fucking Shakespeare in our Paul Rudd Ant-Man movie, that's kind of on them. But like this gave me what I wanted. This gave me Ant-Man. This gave me the quantum realm. This gave me Kang. And let me just point out, and I always forget what's the dude who plays Kang. I always forget his name because my memory.
Jonathan Majors.
Thank you. Jonathan Majors brings such nuance to this, like B-list over the top comic book supervillain. Like just the nuance of the beginning when he's like actually in the quantum realm and he saves Michelle Pfeiffer and he's scared. I buy that. The fact that he has this connection with Michelle Pfeiffer and kind of wants to help her even though she's realized what he is. Like it's not fake. And then when he gets her back and he has that moment, it's my favorite scene. He's like, we never talked about what you saw. What did you see? Like, this bothers him. The fact that he lost this relationship to the first person he met in the quantum realm, even though he subjugated and like completely took over the entire thing, is bothering him. And I love the nuance of that in that performance. So yeah, I mean, overall, I think this was a really, really fun movie, really good movie. I don't know why people are hating on it, but that's my 2 cents overall for
it. Tim?
Yeah, same. I don't understand the hatred either. I had a real good time. By the way, Jason, your head is perfectly lined up with that, man. It's distracting.
I know,
but it's awesome.
Thank you for noticing. That's why I've been doing this the whole time.
I've been looking at it.
Just do the head snap and then have the mask come on and everything.
Yeah, so it's like distracting me a little, but it looks awesome.
Wait, Tim. Before you go on, how good are we all with nobody cut him off to point that out that whole time?
I noticed it. I was just enjoying it. I'm like, he got to be Ant-Man.
Ant-Man today. You off. That was actually your Ant-Man today. No, I seen it twice. I seen it with Ed again on Saturday. I had a ball. I thought it was great. I was nervous too going in doing a whole movie in the quantum realm. Not my thing really, but like you said, Kang, phenomenal, fantastic. I'm looking forward when you're devoting an entire phase to one character like this. I am looking forward to every variant that we get to see of Kang now. It's going to be exciting. Even the ones we saw at the end got me all excited. I was like, this dude is bringing the Kang variants to life. And then the one at the second post credit. Plus, I went back and watched his end scene on Loki when he explains who he is and how. Oh my God, I'm just so looking forward to him coming up as the big villain in the next one. But I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was, was it top 10 Marvel movie? No, but it was fun. I had a good time watching it, and I don't know what people are looking for anymore, but I had a good time with it. I liked it.
Jader?
Kang, that's my review. That's it. That's it. No, honestly, that's it. Eric? Yeah, honestly, same thing. I wasn't as excited to see this movie for some reason. It wasn't one of the ones that I was like, I need to be like, I don't know. I was, the first showing, but I even woke up that day. I'm like, oh yeah, shit, fuck, it's Ant-Man Day today. Like completely, wasn't even, and I'm usually like counting down when these movies are coming out. It wasn't that the trailer didn't look good to me, but kind of like what Timmy said, the quantum realm. I'm like, what are we really gonna do in there? You know, what's gonna happen? And again, me as well. I didn't see reviews before going in, and then I'm like, oh, it's probably gonna be, not loved but liked. And then I saw it was getting bashed, and I'm like, dude, it was not that bad, not at all. I feel like Jonathan Majors and Michelle Pfeiffer stole the fucking show.
For sure.
Janet, she was great. She was fantastic on that. And I feel like this was kind of like it was more Star Wars-y than Guardians. I did feel like it reminded me a lot of Star Wars, and pretty much like there was nothing in this movie, honestly, that I was just like, well, no, never mind. There is something that I actually hated in this movie, which we'll get to in a bit. But I felt like Jonathan Majors just, he was fucking epic. Man showed up to work. He knew what he signed up for. The only glimpse we had gotten of him, obviously, was in Loki, which was a variant of Kang, and seeing that and seeing him, what this variant did. He was just engaging, man. He was engaging. He was a threat. I felt like, a lot of people were like, oh, he wasn't that. I'm like, dude, he was. If anything, if you have to give this movie any type of props, it's that this man showed up to work. And again, I had fun with the characters. I don't remember characters' names all that well besides our main heroes, but I love the little red sponge hole thing. That what's his name? Which I had no idea was him.
Name.
It's David
Kurt.
D.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Polka dot man. So I saw him in the credits, and I'm like, was it a deleted scene or so, or did I miss it? Because I'm like, obviously, he's in the Ant-Man movies, and I'm like, how the hell? I'm like, did I miss that? And then I find out it was him, and I'm like, oh man, that was great. But I had a good time, man. It was again, just like Tim said. Was it top 10, top 5 MC? No, but it was perfectly fine, and that's okay. Not every Marvel movie is gonna be a home run. It was perfectly fine.
Yeah.
So
Veb was the character that he voiced.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, he was great.
Drink the goose.
He was great. That was great. Loved him. There was a lot of little side characters, and the yellow looking thing that is with the
laser face.
Yes.
Yeah, man, that was pretty cool. Kind of broke my heart at the end, and I was like, oh man. But I had fun with the different characters that we had. One thing that I thought was genius, which we're gonna obviously start getting into more detail, but them drinking the ooze,
yes,
and being able to understand, I thought that was fantastic. I'm like, man, I would have never thought about it. I'm like, how the hell are they gonna be able to talk to each other? And then when they did that, I'm like, bro, this is awesome.
Well, that's what I told Jason after the movie. I was just like, something? I'm glad that it's something you don't really need to address, but I'm so happy they did address, because you wonder, Thanos showed up and knew how to speak English out of nowhere, and you kind of just let it go. You're like, the movie has to happen.
He had the Infinity Gauntlet. The Infinity Gauntlet allows him to speak English.
Exactly. Whatever. But a cool detail that they explained. Rick, what do you got here?
Well, first off, English is the international language of the galaxy.
Yes,
all aliens
universal.
Speak it. Yes, the universal language. All aliens speak it. Even E.T. He came to Earth, started speaking English.
That's true. It's true, actually.
So
that's a fair point.
Kind of torn on this movie. I feel like I should be cheering along with you guys, but Kang,
shoulder shrug.
Kang is giving me like these serious Ultron vibes where he couldn't win a fight. Like he'd show up, talk all witty and look all cool, and then lose a fight. And it's like happening over and over again. And that's something that I didn't realize until I rewatched the old Avengers movie. And I noticed Ultron did lose like every fight he was in. And I feel like Kang is doing the same thing. Like I would have rather him been like Thanos and just be in the background. Like if he's not going to show up and just whoop ass, just be in the background and say random stuff like, I guess I'll do it myself. Okay. That's just my thing. And I love Jonathan Majors. When I watched Lovecraft Country, I was pissed it's only one season. Again, it's not great, but I thought he did a great job.
Agreed.
What's the other one? The Watchmen. Oh no,
Yes.
he's not in the Watchmen.
He's not in
I'm
Watchmen.
sorry. I just love that, you know,
I was like,
Watchmen,
oh, I
and they
haven't seen
canceled it
that. He's
after
in
one
that?
season. I loved it, and they canceled after one season. Sorry, that just always comes up. But back to Ant-Man. Kang could be more for me, or he could be less. I think he should just be less. I did love the Micronauts being introduced. Hopefully, my Micronauts #1, which is in 9 out of 10 condition, is worth something now. I like the daddy-daughter moments. Being a dad girl myself, I would have liked to have more of them. But I think like they did the best with what they got, in my opinion. I don't think they have the biggest, best actors in the whole MCU in this franchise. I don't think they have the biggest, baddest character in the whole MCU in this franchise. However, this franchise always puts out some of my favorite movies. Like, I was ranking this against Thor's trilogy, like to see which one I like better.
He's got 4 of them.
Oh, well, yeah. Either way, I was comparing series to series to see which one I like better, because I think they're kind of comparable. I think it's a pretty fair comparison. But no, I really like the movie. Can't wait to watch it again. I want to see it again in 3D. But I'm sure as we do a deeper and deeper dive, I'll be able to express, the little things that I was like, this could have been better. Like, can Kang win a fight? Just little things like that.
Okay. All right. I enjoyed this movie. I don't think it's a top tier MCU film. Again, I'm not going to put it in the top 10 or anything like that, but I enjoyed the hell out of it. I had a great time watching it. I enjoyed the characters. I laughed throughout. It had the great Ant-Man self-deprecating humor throughout it, which I had read previously that it was like, it's joyless. I'm like, no, I didn't get that at all. I actually had a good time throughout the whole thing. I thought that was nuts. And I loved Kang. I thought Kang was phenomenal. I thought he was imposing. I thought he was terrifying. And I think Jonathan Majors commands the screen in every scene he's in. And especially like when we really first see him, when he shows up, when Scott and Cassie are in prison, and the way he throws MODOK against the wall and says, "Don't even speak when I'm in the same room." That hit home because I was like, wow, this dude is not fucking around. Like, he's even telling his hunter that he just created to don't even speak when I'm around. Dude, that was crazy.
And even though the line was spoiled in the trailer, but I think that's such a hard line when he looks at him and he goes, "Oh, you're an Avenger." He goes, "Have I killed you before?"
Yeah.
I really I love that. Even when I first heard it, I'm like, man, that's badass. Obviously, there was some kind of humor after that with the MCU usually does, a serious thing, and then you hit humor right after, where he's like, "You're the one with the hammer," and he goes, "Yeah, they mistake us all the time," which I thought was great.
Yeah, same body type.
Same body type and all that. So I thought that was great. But if you notice, I don't know if you guys, I'm pretty sure you guys have done your review of Love and Thunder. I don't like that movie.
Okay.
I don't plan to watch that movie again. I really did not dig that movie whatsoever. It's bottom tier. It's like bottom 3, 4 for me. I really didn't like it.
Okay.
Because I felt like the ideas were cool. I felt Bale was fantastic, but I felt it was joke. It was too much. I felt like this movie could have had that because being Paul Rudd is a comedian actor. And they didn't do that, especially when it was the Kang scenes. When Kang was around, besides that one line that he did, it was all seriousness.
Yeah.
There was barely any jokes around when he was around, and I like that because it makes him more of that threat. Like, people knew he was not to be fucked with. At least I felt that way.
Like Thanos. Thanos. There's no real jokes in Thanos scenes either.
Yeah, so I really, really like that they took that approach in an Ant-Man film, which is known for their comedy. Like, they have way more comedies in the first 2 than in this one, So yeah, that's something that I loved. When you mentioned that scene alone with MODOK, that one of the things that I loved was when he says that to Ant-Man. I'm like, bro, this guy's not fucking around.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
But I think overall with this movie is, though, for me, this movie works really well as an entry into the MCU and as a sequel in the Ant-Man franchise and kicking things off to Phase 5. I can understand some of the critiques of it as a standalone film because I kind of think critics have to critique it as a standalone film, right?
It as a standalone.
Do it properly.
But it's so fucking hard to do that with the MCU also.
Exactly, but that's my point.
They're all stories that they all connect.
And that's my point. We're trying something films into this, and you kind of got to know what you're going into. Now, as a standalone film, there's a lot of the backstory and character development of all these characters that we get prior, except for Janet Van Dyne. We had mentioned Michelle Pfeiffer. She gets a lot of her exploration in this film, which is awesome that she gets front and center. And
I loved her in this. Loved her.
No, me too. And we get Kang. Like, it's focused on the two of them. But everyone else, you know what's going on about them leading up into this, and they develop them a little bit, but they're not the focal point, which is fine for me. But I can understand, again, like what you're critiquing, but you also need to, as a critic, need to know what you're walking into at this point. There is a streamline of a story that's going on here, and you can't ignore all of that. Someone jumping into Quantumania and never seeing anything, I think they would probably struggle with this film. But you shouldn't be.
Well, yes and no. Let me tell you. Well, if you go completely blind, then yeah. But my brother that I mentioned that I had taken him.
Okay.
He had not seen Love and Thunder. He had not seen Shang-Chi. He had not seen. He says the last movie he saw was Endgame.
Okay.
That he completely missed all of Phase 4. He hadn't seen Doctor Strange. He hadn't seen anything. He said the only one in Phase 4 that he saw was No Way Home. Because obviously there's no way home.
Yeah.
And he walked out and he was like, I'm like, did you understand? He's like, yeah. He's like, I understood everything. He's like, I don't feel like you need to watch the other ones to connect to this one.
But did you see the other Ant-Man films?
He's seen Ant-Man. Yeah,
okay.
he's seen
that's fine.
He's seen the Ant-Man films.
Okay.
But he also liked it. He told me because he went online and he goes, dude, this movie's getting bashed. And I thought it was pretty good. And I was like, yeah, it's critics, man. You know how it is.
Yeah.
And then but yeah, that's why I feel like if you're familiar with the characters, you just obviously have to know, get an idea. And they mentioned the quantum realm in every single Ant-Man film, so you kind of know where you're going. Other than that, it's good. I thought it was a good intro to real intro to Kang.
Yeah, well, what I meant is if you haven't seen the other Ant-Man films or Endgame, Phase 4, no, you could have skipped Phase 4. Loki would have given you some better background to Kang, but it wasn't absolutely necessary.
Luckily, he saw Loki with me when it aired,
right.
So that was another thing that helped, obviously. So he was pretty excited to see who Kang was. So yeah.
Okay, Rick, I'm sorry, you had something?
I was gonna say I took a really different approach to this film. When I went to go see it, I was like, I'm gonna act with this movie like this is the first ever MCU film. So that's the frame of mind that I went into it with, because everybody hated the last phase, right? So I was like, let's see if everybody complained about the last phase, let's see what this new phase does about it. And I walked in and I was like, I'm going to treat this like this is a brand new first MCU film. And honestly, in the first 5 minutes of the movie, I got that he was Ant-Man. I got that he was a mislabeled celebrity because everybody kept calling him Spider-Man. I got that Miles Morales lives in his universe when he gave him 5 and he's sitting on the chair. Like in the first 5 minutes, I literally got all the rundown I needed. He sees his daughter. You understand that there's been a gap in their relationship. All this stuff happens. You even get a background for Kang. He came from another universe and he landed here and he's dangerous. Like, people saying that you need to watch everything in order to enjoy a movie. Like, if you just pay attention to this movie, you don't need to actually have seen everything. They're amplifiers. To me, they're amplifiers. But I feel like a lot of things in this film, like, if I can sit down and watch a Netflix movie with no background, I can sit down and watch this Ant-Man movie with no background and enjoy the whole film. That was my big take from it, because I knew there was going to be a ton of, identity issues with this film and people having a bad taste in their mouth in the last phase. If you can sit down and enjoy a Netflix movie and hand wave a lot, you can sit down and enjoy this movie.
Well, I'm just saying, and again, I think that the character development was one of the knocks I've seen in some of it. And that's what again, they were kind of built up in other films. I'm not saying they don't address any of it. They do. But you would get more out of it. That's where I think we're at with a lot of the MCU. But you're right. Phase 4 has not much of a connection to this outside of Loki. And that's fine. Not every single movie has to be super interconnected. Just the characters that are there. They're through line throughout the films is what I was kind of like harping on with that. And I guess any kind of issues that we've had with it. I mean, specifically, I knew that's what you were referencing. I knew that's what you were referencing.
I fucking hated MODOK, bro. I was like, what the fuck is this? They could have cut him out the fucking film for me. You know, I think the idea of MODOK was great. The fact that they got Darren Cross, took him in the quantum realm, all that shit was cool. I thought he looked like shit compared to the rest of the film because I felt like the CGI in the movie overall looked really good until his face comes on or off. I don't know.
It's revealed. It's revealed.
That's the reveal, the face, the shred. It just looked shitty, man. And
Jader, I'm going to agree with you, and I'm gonna because I talked to you about this, Ed. And I'm going to take it one thing farther. His face looked okay in profile. Whenever you had like depth, it looked okay, but every time it was straight on, it reminded me of like a flat screen, like 90s.
Yeah,
like I was looking
like
at
you know how those yes, exactly what I thought about because I've been playing GoldenEye since they re-released it, and I'm like, this looks like a Nintendo 64 character, man. It looks so shitty. And it was honestly, it was that. It was right when it was in your face. It looked, when the fit to screen option on your TV when you have it. Like my grandma didn't like the widescreen, so she goes fit to screen. It's like that's what it looked like to me. It just looks so crappy. And even the character itself, like didn't do it for me, man, whatsoever. It started off pretty good. I'm like, oh shit, that's pretty interesting. I had an idea that he was in it. I heard the rumors. I had it wasn't stamped until obviously I saw it. I'm like, I wasn't surprised by it when the reveal came out. I was like, oh shit, people were right. All right, cool. But just as it progressed, I was like, get this guy out of the screen, please. I was having such a good time, and every time he would pop up, I'm like, ugh. So that was my gripe with the film was that. And then I had a little small gripe towards the end when Michael Douglas comes and saves the day with all the ants and they kind of just take Kang away. I honestly thought that was it and we were going to see him again. I was super pissed off. I'm like, if this is the way Kang goes out, this movie is a piece of shit. I fucking hate it. But then he comes back and obviously, we have our final fight or whatnot. So, but I kind of saying what Rick has been saying, he was like he kind of brought it more into light Rick right now when he was like, dude, he loses every fight, and he kind of did. Like there was never a moment that they were really threatened to the point where like, how are they going to get out of this, which I thought was going to happen a lot. I actually thought this movie was going to end on a big cliffhanger with something really bad happening, and it kind of ended in a lighter note, even him joking about it, like, did I take care of this guy, did I not take care of this guy? Oh, we'll figure it out later, we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Figure that in the next movie.
Yeah, exactly. But I thought honestly this movie was going to end on some crazy like cliffhanger, and I know we're just starting the phase and we're going to be seeing a lot of Kang throughout and a lot of variants and whatnot, but I thought this was going to be one that was going to be like, oh shit, where are we going next, like what's going to happen now, but
Yeah, no, I will say that I'm on the exact opposite end of the spectrum for MODOK.
Yeah, no, I had some friends that loved him, man.
I'll say this. I loved MODOK in this movie. I thought he was funny. I thought that's why he's there. He's always been this. Jason and I talk about this off the side. He's a completely weird and goofy character who we never thought we'd have seen in a million years. But I also think he looked like that on purpose. I'm not going to lie, because that's kind of how he looks in all the iterations of this bizarre, weird, flat face that doesn't fit. And I kind of think that they were going with that. And I don't know, it didn't take me out of anything. And his whole weird storyline of not wanting to, like, he wouldn't answer Scott when he called him Darren. and he was like only an answer to MODOK.
That part did make me laugh.
That was good. I thought that was funny,
Yeah,
and I thought the
that
whole
was
thing
funny.
with Cassie telling him not to be a dick. I don't know,
Yeah.
and then telling Scott at the end we were always brothers and all this. I don't know. I just thought he was this weird,
That's why.
quirky
No,
character.
see, I was like, what? Like,
But he was being an
I don't know.
asshole. He was just like, whatever. I don't know. It worked for me. It worked, but I can see where it wouldn't work for some people. I don't like totally. I'm oblivious to it, but I don't know. I kind of dug it. I thought it was. It's MODOK. He's weird. He's just weird, dude. Like, watch the Hulu series. Or anyone who didn't see it, that
No, yeah, I
Robot
saw it. I
Chicken
saw
thing,
it.
it's bizarre.
Yeah, it's no. See, but that I like. I don't know. I guess it works. Yeah, it works in a comic, in a cartoon, live action. I was honestly, that's another thing. I wasn't really expecting to see MODOK in live action anytime soon. Obviously, we knew he was coming. He released them in the trailer.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh shit, MODOK's gonna be here. I wonder how they're gonna. I even said, I wonder how they're gonna interpret it because he is a weird character. But it just didn't work. For me, man.
I'm with Ed on this one. When you Eddie forced me to watch the MODOK TV show, and I thought it was the stupidest thing ever. I thought Hit Monkey was the stupidest thing ever. And then I watched both of them in like one Saturday afternoon and really enjoyed it. So
Patton Oswalt was great, man. Patton Oswalt
coming into this movie,
man.
I was pretty excited to see him in live action. And he was just as fucking silly in Star Wars as he can possibly be and fit right in with the movie. Like, I enjoyed the character. When he had to be threatening, he was threatening. When he had to be funny, he was funny. And I'm with Ed. I think the silly graphics, like, that's what he looks like. You know,
He's just weird.
I definitely noticed the silly graphics, but yeah.
So I have a question. Did any of you guys play the Avengers game for PS4? Because the villain of that is MODOK, and it's a MODOK origin story. And they actually handle MODOK in a way that doesn't make him just weird and goofy.
Should I keep playing it? Because I gave up.
I mean, story-wise, yes, but gameplay, it doesn't get any better. But the payoff of the story is good.
I'm having that same issue with Gotham Knights. I can't get through Gotham Knights because
I just bought it. It's that bad? I just bought it for like $40.
Yeah. Look, it's one of the few that I actually have. Oh shit! I have it on fucking right here. It's not that it's that bad. You'll see if you played Arkham and you jump to this, or if you're playing like something like God of War and you jump to this, you'll notice how clunky it is.
Okay.
And it bothered me. So that's all it is. Yeah.
All right, Tim, you're the tiebreaker.
Tim, what did you think of MODOK?
I didn't mind him at all. I didn't, because it's a fucking goofy ass character.
I'm shocked.
I don't want to see him. I don't want to see him in another movie. So I kind of like this one-off goofy little bastard that he was. I thought he was very entertaining because I thought Darren Cross was a dick. And he was such a dick. He was annoying at times. This kind of lightened him up a bit. I love the line with, at least, we're brothers and at least I'm dying an Avenger. I thought that was a fucking great line. That was funny. Because everyone's like, what do you mean you're dying an Avenger?
They're kind of like, just go along with it. It's all right.
Yeah.
This guy's
Scott's
about
like,
to die.
You're on the team,
He's
buddy.
like, yeah, Ant-Man's like, you're in. You're in.
As me and Ed were talking about too, I think, and Jader, you said the CGI was great. I think it was made to look wonky. Like, I mean, it looked good, but I mean, it was made to look odd. It was made to look a little weird, just like the little pink fucking guy when he's running, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I think it was made to look a certain way, just so you know, all right, this is the quantum realm. You know what you're getting into. There's some weird shit down there. It's all good. And MODOK fit perfectly into that whole scenario. So I like him. I thought he was cool. Do I want to see him again? No. Don't have to.
Or you're not going to.
Yeah.
No, he's done. That's it.
The villain in She-Hulk season 2.
Yeah, no, I'm good. For a one-off for that kind of character, I'm good. And I did. I liked him. He was all right.
Yeah, I don't know.
I thought I was going to be in the majority. I'm not going to lie to you. I thought everyone was going to be with me. Nope. Not one.
Well, my own personal critiques of the film, like I shared earlier, was just kind of like, if you're judging it as a standalone, if for an entry into the MCU, I didn't really have too many gripes. I dug Scott.
He was it, to be honest with you. He was it, and then the ants taking him away. But again, it was quickly recovered when he did, when they somewhat did fight at the end. Well, not somewhat, they did fight at the end. But those were my only two. I'm like, I don't understand why people don't like that. I thought Bill Murray did his job. You know, we haven't
Yes.
really mentioned him. Bill Murray was great in it. You know, in and out, did what he had to do. He was Bill Murray. I did feel like Hope was kind of pushed to the side, being it called Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. I felt like she was really put to the side. But that's pretty much it, to be honest with you. Michael Douglas was fine in it, you know, as Hank, as he usually is. Again, another we didn't see. I feel like it was more a focus on obviously our two main characters, which was Kang and Scott.
Yeah, and
You know?
Janet would probably be the other one I would throw into the
And
main
Janet, yeah,
character.
exactly. Sorry, yeah, Janet, obviously, yeah.
But I agree with you about Hope getting kind of pushed to the side for most of the film until the ending. And I think I said this is that when she comes back, because between her and Scott, she's better with her hands than Scott.
Absolutely.
Scott's gotten better, but she trained him. When they fought Kang hand to hand, like I was like, all right, cool. She's the one who's going to go ahead and start whooping ass, and she did when she gets her opportunities to display that. And by the way, Kang also beats the crap out of Scott in that fight. Which rightfully so. He beats the piss out of him.
Breaks his helmet by stomping it, which was so badass, I thought.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it took a lot to take Kang down.
I like that fight at the end. That fight was dope as fuck at the end.
And I'm going to bring in Alex's comment over here because I wanted to follow up on this. The scene where Scott started to doubt himself at the end by defeating Kang. That's kind of how I took it, Alex. I'm with you on this. I took it as a haunting thing because, number one, we've never seen that in the MCU. Usually, you know, the hero gets to do what they got to do, and that's it. But this dude's like, you know, having a happy, funny ending, and then it's just like, oh, wait, but he's dead, right? Like, maybe? Right. I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah. Sure?
Did I do worse by killing him because he said I killed him? Yeah.
It's a Doctor Strange ending.
It is. It is.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. You're absolutely right.
Yeah,
but even in the... Go ahead, my bad.
No, I was going to say, because we know we know where this is all going ahead, and he's setting him up as eventually, the big bad. Yeah, eventually. But we also don't really know if this Kang is even dead for sure.
That's what I was going to actually mention right now. So this is the thing. I took it. I guess we're going to jump into mid-credit. Yeah, we're going to do mid-credits now because for me, when he got sapped into whatever he did at the end, I was like, and Scott starts doubting himself. I'm like, there's no way that, because everybody's like, oh, he's dead. He's a different variant. As you go into the post-credit, they're saying the exiled one is gone.
Right.
But in my opinion, they exiled him because he's the bad one, like the really, really bad one. That is the one that they had to get rid of this guy.
Yeah.
That's how I interpret it, as he's going to come back and it's going to be the same variant that fought Scott and Hope at the end. I don't think he's dead, but a bunch of my friends are like, no, dude, the reason why the post-credit scene exists is because this guy's now dead. I didn't take it that way. I took it as he's dead to them, but he's not. He's actually going to come back and be a bigger motherfucker now.
Yeah, because in the mid-credit scene, we get Ramatut and we get Mortis. Because He Who Remains was the one that we had seen in Loki, but now we're getting these other dudes, and we see them all jumping around. By the way, at the end, and like there's other Kangs that look like the one that we fought. They're so happy
to be in the Council of Kang.
The Council of Kang, kind of like the Council of Wells that we saw in the Flash.
That's exactly what I thought. The Council of Wells. It's the Council of Kang, except there are millions of them in the same arena, cheering each other. God. Gentlemen, that's my dream, to wake up in a universe where there are a million me cheering me on in the center of the stage.
The Council of Jasons.
The Council of Fish Dicks.
It's funny as fuck.
Yeah, I mean, there's also a chance, but in Kang Dynasty, dude, the Avengers might be fighting many Kangs at the same time. It might just be one at a time. I mean,
which is kind of what Rick was saying with Ultron. Yeah. And Kang, like the correlation there's a bunch of Ultrons, it could be a bunch of Kangs, so I understand what it's like. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty imposing thing, and then the post credit scene is pretty much the alley oop, for Loki season 2.
That was my favorite. That was my favorite, man. I loved that. I loved
Victor
seeing that 'cause I'm so
Timely?
hyped. Yes, man. I
Is
cannot
that a
wait.
comic book Kang variant, Victor Timely, or could that
Yes.
possibly be our? Oh, that is okay.
No, that is
Yeah,
comic
it's
book accurate.
Kang Byron. The name Timely from the original name of Marvel Comics.
Oh, interesting.
Nice job, Rick. Nice job.
Yeah, Kang's like the most retconned character ever. So good luck guessing whatever the.
Yeah.
Good luck guessing what the next phase of his journey will be. I've like spent hours on it, and I was like, "This could be anything."
Yeah.
It's whatever the hell they want it to be.
Yeah.
But did
That's
anyone,
hilarious.
except for me, I kind of thought that maybe this Kang was actually the good one, and he really was the one that was keeping the rest of them in check. Again, his motivation to get out, while seemed evil, could have been actually for the best intentions, because now he's like, well, good luck. You got rid of me, and now you're in all deep shit because now the other 3 million of me are on their way, and you're all screwed. I kind of saw it that way a little bit. Whether I'm right or wrong, I have no idea.
Well, that's what
No,
he
that's
says.
a good possibility. He
That's
definitely
actually a dope take.
Yeah.
I never even thought about that. That's actually a pretty cool take.
I'm just thinking, he might have been so desperate to get out because he's the only one that can stop the other fucking 3 million of them. That's why they got rid of him. And now they got rid of him. Look how happy they were at the end, jumping around like a bunch of morons.
Yeah. So we've met two Kangs, and they're both saying similar things, though. Like, He Who Remains is pretty much saying, if you kill me, you're going to unleash all my variants, and they're all going to show up. And now this Kang kind of said sort of the same thing. Like, dude, I got to get out of here because I need to, stop this shit. Otherwise, the world is going to end and it's going to be all over. And he gets stopped also. So which one's telling the truth? Are they
All
both
of them.
full of shit? Or are they all telling the truth?
Yeah,
Right.
so
They're all telling their own truth.
Yeah,
Okay.
but either this Kang was so bad that they had to team up and get rid of him, or he was the one trying to stop them. I think it's a good, what if kind of holy shit, what kind of scenario are we dealing with here, which we won't find out probably until fucking 2026, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, whenever they're gonna decide, because I know they didn't say when they're dropping Loki season 2. I know it's this year. We don't know if it's during the summer. My guess is during the summer, because now that we have a gap between Guardians 3 and the Marvels, like there's a long gap in that. So I'm guessing they're gonna pepper in some of these, the 2 shows that are dropping this year. We should be seeing a lot of. Are we going to see multiple Kangs in that? Are we going to see one throughout that season? Is it just Victor Timely that they'll be chasing?
I don't know.
I'm just throwing out any possibilities because we know we're going to see a lot more of this dude.
That show can go anywhere. That's the beauty of Loki. And if you watch that first season, it can go anywhere, and it will, because that's what it did the first season. So, yeah.
I wonder how much Majors is making for this. You figure all the movies, all the TV shows, he's doing a lot of work.
I got to imagine it's a full load.
$1 billion, but it's all said and done, probably.
30 different costume changes and makeup, and he got to be making good bank this year.
And talking about makeup and costumes and stuff, I want to point out how awesome it was, because if anyone knows comic book Kang, he's got that like mask and it shows like the lines down his face, and the fact that this Kang, it was scars on his face that was illuminated by the mask. There was just something. I don't know. It was a great choice.
His suit, everything about it was great. His costume design was amazing. Yeah, they nailed it.
True.
Yeah. And I think, Rick, maybe you had pointed out, this does feel like the somewhat Star Wars entry into the MCU, which I'm fine with. I don't see that as a knock, because part of the thing that Jason and I usually always praise the MCU for is that we get something different every time out. Like we get a different style of movie. We've gotten a heist movie. We've gotten this 70s political spy thriller with Winter Soldier. And now we've gotten, I guess, our Star Wars-ish entry into this.
Well, technically it would have been Guardians, right?
Yeah, but space opera.
But it was a space opera, exactly. And I felt like this was, I don't know, I felt again this was more Star Warsy than freaking because even
felt like the cantina.
I don't know why I'm having
for sure
seen this. Yes, dude. Exactly. I told my girl, I'm like, my girl is the one that called me. She goes, "There's a freaking canteen in this movie." I'm like, right? I'm like, wasn't that wild? So
Yeah. Dude,
And
when
that-
I was go ahead, Jason.
No, that broccoli-headed guy was in a Star Wars movie, right? Like we had broccoli.
that guy was great.
When I was watching with how different this film was and the way everything played out at the end, for me, this brought me one step closer to Mojo being in the MCU.
Oh,
Like I could see like Mojo's whole like vibe being a lot like this film.
yeah, I can see that. That's a good point.
So
I can
that's
see
like
that.
I started thinking about that. Hopefully, we'll get X-Men at some point.
And you know when Mojo comes to the MCU, I am running that episode. We're having guests. We're treating it like it is 100th episode because it's that special because Mojo is here, guys. And just so everyone knows, those of us who haven't been with us since the beginning, I have been talking about Mojo since episode 1 of this series.
It's true. It's been there's 100 times now. We talked about Mojo.
It's 100. I talked about Mojo.
Did you? I personally didn't think that there was a place in this story for them, but did you guys feel like a missing piece from Luis and Kurt and Dave being out of this film? I just didn't think where the hell would you fit them?
Quickly, they weren't as needed, but quick little recap in the beginning would have been great, as we always want from Luis.
Okay,
You get me? But it made no sense. The how it plays out, it just didn't make sense to really have him in there.
it would have felt forced, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I think the storytelling aspect would have felt forced. I don't think we needed that, but I think when we had that montage in the beginning, they could have been there. He very easily could have been visiting, like, you know, con, whatever, ex-con security, whatever it was. And I think they should have had a cameo like other people. I don't think they should have, like, there should have been a story or anything. But, you know, I did kind of miss them in that aspect. We got Jimmy Woo, and I mean, he was only in the second one.
Yeah, it was very, very quick.
I loved that quick cameo from Jimmy Woo in this. That is showing the magic tricks again. They kind of just addressed, and he was actually having lunch with Scott. Because at the end of the last movie, they referenced that. So I thought that was pretty funny.
You know the coffee guy, the older man that tells him good luck. Thank you, Spider-Man. You know that was by mistake originally.
Really?
So my mom, so they were interviewing. He's a Spanish actor, and they were interviewing him on like Univision or something like that. And he said that he blurted that line completely by accident, and that the whole crew laughed so hard they're like, "We're keeping it." So they did different takes with it. But it was a little fun fact there. So when he goes, it was honest, and he said it was an honest mistake. I said Spider-Man. He goes out of habit because he's such a popular character. That they were cracking up, and then he looked, and then they're like, "It's Ant-Man," and then everybody was laughing. He's like, "Oh, my mistake," and then they apparently Peyton Reed was like,
let's go with it.
That was excellent.
What's great about that is that became a trailer line. That's what's great.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I meant. It was so good that it was in the trailer. Exactly. So my mom actually gave me that little fun fact. She was like, "Oh, you know, I was watching an interview with that man." I was like, "Oh shit, that's funny as hell."
Shout out to Jader's mom, man.
Yeah, man.
Contributing to the show.
You know, the opportunity they missed by cutting those guys out was when they introduced the Micronauts. They could have let them have some personality.
All right, you need to go ahead. Explain your Micronauts thing and your Miles Morales thing that you're running.
That's who it is. Who do you think the guy with the light bulb head was? All right. The
light bulb head guy. Who the hell is?
Wait. Miles Morales?
Oh, no. You heard me right, Tim. Don't worry. He'll get to it.
A 70s rando group.
Anyway. Go ahead, Rick. Share with Tim your Miles Morales thing.
Oh. Am I the only one that noticed Miles Morales was in the beginning of the movie and gave him 5?
When he gives him the high five, that kid?
Yes. And
he's not in San Francisco.
My backup on it is that it was Peter Parker in Spider-Man and Iron Man 2.
Yeah, that we know.
Right.
That was proven.
How is that not Miles Morales?
Because it's San Francisco.
And?
He doesn't live there.
He's American. He can travel the country.
He can travel the country. You're right on that.
By himself.
No, he thinks the Prowler took him there.
I said he was there with his
uncle.
uncle.
Like Legoland or some shit.
Bam, he's there with his uncle, getting bit
No.
by a spider.
I'm disagreeing with you on that one.
Rick, I think Peyton Reed didn't know that was Miles
In 3
Morales.
years, we can go back and check the receipts on this episode and be like, "Holy shit, you were right."
And I
Rick,
don't
if they
know- I don't know what
retrofit
Micronaut
Miles
is.
Morales into this movie in a couple of years, then absolute props.
I mean,
Like they retrofit Peter
Venom's
Parker.
in San
I've made-
Francisco, man.
Yeah,
You know?
I've made
Yeah.
more random calls.
It's true. This is true.
And what the hell is a Micronaut, by the way?
It's just a old Marvel comic book, like Rom or I don't know, any of the ones that kind of sucked in the 70s or
remember
80s that we all
Rom.
spent.
Yeah,
50
they were
cents
like they
on.
look like bugs and shit like that, right? If I'm not
No,
mistaken,
no.
they were like
Just like the
No?
guys that were running around with Ant-Man in that little universe.
So
Oh.
basically, Rom would be in those packets you would buy as a kid from like,
Right.
the store of comics. There would be Spider-Man on one side and Rom would be on the other to
Yeah.
fucking sucker you in.
Yeah.
That's what Rom is.
Yes. And then some of those
Rom is-
packages had Micronauts stuck in the middle.
They
of
would
them
be the
also.
middle comic because they
Yeah,
dragged
the
into
middle
Spider-Man.
The
comic.
middle
and then it's
comic
like
was always the
Gru.
worst.
Yes.
What else sucks? Gru sucked. Silver Sable comic sucked. Those packs were solid.
Those
Same
packs
comics
are
for
what
$5.
makes up Rick's comic book collection. Just the middle of those packs. That's your comic book collection.
Jason, don't forget, I saw Rick's comic book collection when I packed it up for him and shipped it
No,
to
you
Florida.
did.
So I got to see some very interesting entries into that shit.
I have Howard the Duck #1.
That's
Yeah, you
that's
do.
impressive.
Hopefully, when they
respect for that.
they'll redo that, that'll be worth something at
And
some
his
point.
pride and glory, the Nightcrawler miniseries.
Also solid. Like
Really?
I don't
Yes,
know, Rick. You
1
and
through
I have
4, he
very
has them
similar
all.
tastes.
Yeah, that one, the Dazzler miniseries, the X-Men miniseries were great in the 80s.
There's a lot of them.
They were weird. I got the long shot one too in Mojo World.
Yes, you do.
Do we have any? Is there any other points that maybe we missed or details we wanted?
So-
Does anyone want to dive into with this movie?
Yeah, I wanted to talk. My only gripes about this movie, I want to talk about were the end.
Okay.
Because I was like, you know me, buy the ticket, take the ride. They laid down very quickly what the rules are. They adhere to those rules. I'm good. But I don't know. The end seems too easy. Like we got to open this thing up, and everyone's going to get through. But Scott's going to stay, and he's going to get his ass kicked by Kang. But he's got to just make sure that they both lose. But then Cassie's just going to open up that second door, and everything's going to be fine. And that bugged me, man. Like they put so much like onus on being stuck in the quantum realm, and like when the Wasp comes back and she helps him beat Kang, and it's like we're going to be stuck in the quantum realm for 30 seconds. Cassie's got that second door open. No worries. That just bugged me.
So you think
Michael
maybe they
Douglas
should've
is
saved
like
it?
85 years old. They could have let him go in this movie.
Well, you wanted them to kill Hank Pym in this movie?
Yes.
Jesus
Wow.
Christ, bro.
Is he really going to make it to the
Jesus
next
Christ
film?
is right. Damn it, man.
You
Hopefully
got to
he
recast
does.
the role or like
Whew.
do the
No.
computer graphics over his face. They
Dude,
could have let
Harrison
him go.
Ford is
yeah.
about to take over as freaking General Ross. I mean, come on now.
Yeah, no. Well, again, Jason, I'm kind of with you. I thought this movie was gonna end in some crazy threat, like holy shit moment, and we had it for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Where I was like, oh shit, Ant-Man. I mean, Ant-Man. Scott is gonna be stuck in a quantum realm. How the hell are they gonna get him out? And then shortly after, I was like, oh yeah. Once the portal opened, I'm like, oh yeah, well, Cassie can open it. Of course she can. Like,
Right.
I get that completely.
And
So-
it led me to this thing too. Like, so Cassie has no idea what's going on in the quantum realm. She very well could have opened that door to Kang killing her parents or her, stepmother and father and walking out. Like, she had no fucking idea. Like, I don't know. That was the only part of the movie that I was like, way too easy.
Would it have
Yeah.
worked better for you guys if the movie, because I agree, Jader, I thought we were going to end this on like an Empire Strikes Back type of thing.
Yeah.
Kind of very, not as crazy as
Not
Infinity War, because Infinity War ended on the ultimate Empire Strikes Back story, which
Yeah.
I think we all probably kind of assumed was going to happen. I felt it was going to end like on a what the fuck moment. Would it have worked better if they would have got Scott and Hope out in like the post-credit scene, maybe? If they dragged it out a little bit, or did you want?
No,
it
I
more
would have.
to-
I would have. Honestly, I would have preferred them doing it for the next film.
Okay.
or a mention later or something. I honestly thought even when Cassie opened the portal and he was like I thought he was gonna manage to grab and get pulled into Earth or something like that.
Oh, Kang would have been.
You know,
He would have
yeah,
escaped like
Kang.
that.
I thought, and then I thought, boom, cut to black, and you're like, oh shit, like he's on Earth now. You know,
Okay, that
something.
was cool.
I'm 100% with
That's
Jader.
fair.
Had Kang gotten to Earth as well through that portal, I'd have been fine with it because it would have maintained the stakes. It wouldn't have made it better for me if they drew it out to the post credit scene. It's either like give this moment stakes and play that through, or don't give this moment stakes. And they try to have it both ways. Like this moment of stakes, everything could end. We could be stuck in the quantum realm. Look at this battle. Aren't you on the edge of your seat? Yeah, it's over. We're gonna bring him back. It's fine. Everyone's good now. And I needed it to have stakes or not have stakes, but they tried both ways and it didn't work for me.
Okay.
Let's not miss also during the Council of Kangs. Did you notice that they were using the same way to beam in like Reed Richards did?
Yes.
And
Seeing a lot of that being thrown around because the question being is because in certain
Go back. What did you say?
in the Council of Kangs, the way that they were all like beaming in, that's the same way that Reed Richards came in when Doctor Strange met the Illuminati.
Yeah.
Bro, I didn't even fucking think about that shit.
I thought it was like when I saw that, I was like, Fantastic Four. Like, that's what.
So in some of the iterations in the comics of Kang, he is a descendant of Reed Richards. That is a thing. So that's why a lot of people have thrown that out there of the teleportation being that, or is it just a coincidence?
And then
I kind of think they're not coincidences. What was that?
In the other iterations, he's a descendant of Doctor Doom. So he's always Fantastic Four like related, whether he's Reed Richards' descendant or Doctor Doom's.
Mm-hmm. So are we thinking he's a descendant of Reed Richards? Do we think it's just technology that happens to be borrowed of some sort? I mean, we don't know who's actually playing Reed Richards in the MCU proper or whatever. So
I mean, it'd be a nice way to introduce him if he's chasing Kang from another multiverse.
Okay.
Actually, that would be cool, and a cool way to introduce the Fantastic Four without the fucking awesome origin story.
Yep.
Just this is who they are, and this is what they're doing. That I would be
because they're doing origin stories based like on the 60s, I think, right? If I'm not mistaken, that's what I've read.
That's been floating around. Yeah, but there was also the belief that they were going to be stuck in the quantum realm. So I don't know if that's going to be. Now, this is this movie, so we don't act.
I don't think that's going to happen now.
Yeah, that's getting thrown out the window. So, I mean, whatever.
They could always be stuck in the negative zone.
I was going to say,
yes,
because 5 hours was 5 years there.
Mm-hmm. That's also true.
Okay.
Alex has another comment in here. I really wanted Scott to die in this movie. More suspense. All right, so we're killing Michael Douglas. We're killing Scott. Jesus, man. What is going on here?
How much would you have been like, Kang is a fucking badass?
I mean,
you'd be ready for his next appearance. Instead, you're like, dude, Ant-Man beat you in a fist fight. I mean, if you think about it, he beat.
Didn't though. You're being really unfair to Kang, Rick.
Kang beat his ass.
He beat Falcon in a fight. And he beat Kang in a fight.
Kang
beat
busted up
because Falcon didn't know what the hell he was fighting at that time. He was what the hell is
None of these people know. They're not the UFC. They don't get to watch tape.
No, but like he didn't know shrinking technology even existed. I mean, like Falcon at that point. Come on,
he's an Avenger.
And Kang busted Ant-Man's ass in this movie. He broke his fucking helmet. He would have killed him if it wasn't for Hope Van Dyne. And you're saying that Kang wasn't a badass? When he finally goes out and says, oh no, I'm going to put this rabble down on my own and single-handedly kills hundreds of people, that's not badass enough for you? What does it take for you, Rick? How many people have to die for you to be impressed?
Half of you.
Wow. Main characters have to die.
Half the universe has to die.
Mike, just kill Michael Douglas. He would have been fine.
Yeah, really, just one.
Oh my God.
Just goosh.
How about one main character, one named character?
Didn't even have to be Kang. It could have been a heart attack.
But you wanted to kill Hank Pym and Scott Lang. Jesus.
That flying sun monster came closer to killing Ant-Man than Kang did.
Oh my
God damn, dude.
Wow. This has got a real dark turn, man. I was not expecting this at all. Man.
Oh man.
All right. Tim, you got any? Did you want anyone to die? Maybe. I mean, maybe Cassie should have died or something. I mean, should we have killed Hope or like who else?
I was gonna say Cassie, but that's getting too dark, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, was that we're hoping for?
Phase 4.
Well, actually,
Phase
everybody
4 was littered with death, and now we don't kill
one of the
anyone.
main
Phase 4,
people that I
3
hear
people
people are
died
getting
in the movie.
pissed. I'm hearing a lot of people are pissed off with the way Cassie she's one of the biggest negatives if you read reviews that people aren't liking.
Well, she was annoying. She was a bit of an annoying. She was, but it's just I would be annoying too if I. Yeah, I'd be
She's a
annoying too.
teenager that has shrinking tech. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I'd be a dick too if I could shrink myself down and pop up anywhere I want. I'd be a real asshole if I had that technology. I kind of see what Rick was saying. Though, if Michael Douglas would have sacrificed himself to get the rest of them out, that would have been pretty cool. I mean, that would have been a good way to go because how many more does Michael Douglas have in him as far as these movie goes? But I did think that this was going to end on a downer. I did think it was going to end on a downer. And I was kind of hoping it was going to end on a downer too, but you know what? Whatever. I still like the fact that Scott questioned everything in the last 5 minutes. Like, was that good? I don't know. Really? I don't. So I kind of like that too. But I really thought
as that was going on, I thought we were going to get a glimpse of a Kang at the very end. That's another thing that I thought.
Like being the cook.
Where I'm like, oh, where is it? I thought he was going to be like, I thought he was going to like serve him his food, some shit. And then it didn't happen. And I was like, all right, post-credit. Something's got to happen post-credit. And I thought it was going to be more with I thought the mid-credit was going to be with Scott involved and, him figuring out he's not gone. But it wasn't that at all. Obviously, we know he's not gone, but Scott still doesn't know. Yeah. So I thought it was honestly, same thing. Downer. Even with the trailer when he says that line, like, I don't have to win, we both gotta lose. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh shit, okay, something's gonna go down, and didn't happen.
Yeah. Well, from the trailers too. I mean, we were talking about it in one of the opening segments that with the Guardians trailers, everyone seems to think that Rocket's gonna bite it.
I've been saying Rocket's gonna bite it for like 2 years now, to be honest with you. I'm like, he's the only one that has not died, dusted, or anything. He's the only one that survived it all. And James Gunn loves to kill and rip people's hearts out. I am 100% saying that Rocket's gonna die, I think. But now they're making it too obvious on the trailers, where I'm like, probably not. But 2 years ago, 100% I would have said yes.
So you're saying the MCU's doing their
thing goodbye. Well, they said that this is the goodbye for the Guardians, right?
Yeah.
I think this is they're not even going to be in the Kang Dynasty or
supposedly not.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. So it all depends on how this one ends. But I honestly, I don't know if you've seen those videos. I don't know. I don't have TikTok. I get the TikTok videos like a week later. On Instagram, but I've seen that some guy mentioned that the first Guardians logo had it was like brown and gold, and that's when Groot dies. And if you see volume 2, it's blue, and it's Yondu that dies. And then if you see this one, it's brown again or some shit or gold in this one. So, but I also said they're introducing Adam Warlock, so maybe that's why we have gold around. But have you noticed?
One and done.
Can you imagine that shit? They just fucking kill. They introduce him and kill him in the same film. That would suck, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta believe he's a character that's setting off a long haul.
I think so too. I think that's why I think maybe Bautista's been very vocal. But
the Infinity Gauntlet's already happened.
I say Rocket and Drax go.
I think Drax is biting it. I was saying
Drax is definitely biting it too. Yeah.
Well, we know Bautista's gone, so
yeah.
So what you're saying is Guardians Volume 3 is one that's gonna end on the sad note.
It's gonna have all the deaths that this movie didn't have.
Yes.
The trailers look depressing as shit. So I'm going with Drax and Rocket in this one.
Another joyless film from Marvel Studios.
They've turned into the DCU after all.
They went too dark.